Welcome back to the deep dive. We've gotten some really insightful material from you all, focusing on this phase after you manage to climb out of survival mode.
Yeah, it's a topic that doesn't get talked about enough, I think.
Totally. And we're going to explore this experience that can feel, well, pretty strange. You finally get some stability, maybe financially, maybe in your personal life, whatever that means for you.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you're still dealing with these feelings of anxiety, maybe some unease. It's confusing.
It really is. And looking at the articles you sent, especially that one, this is what no one tells you about escaping survival mode.
Yeah.
It hits on a key truth.
Which is?
That reaching external security, that's often not the end of the story. For a lot of people, it's actually the start of a much deeper internal journey.
Okay.
So our goal today, our sort of mission for this deep dive, is to figure out why these unsettling feelings pop up, even when things look better on the outside.
And crucially, how to navigate that phase.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Give some perspective on how to handle it.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because it really does feel counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You work so hard, you push through massive challenges, get to a safer place.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just like pure relief, you might feel more anxious. Or maybe irritable, withdrawn.
Or even doing things that kind of sabotage the good stuff.
Yeah. And that article mentioned this strange feeling. It's so important for listeners to hear this right away.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean something's wrong with you.
Right.
It's not like you're ungrateful for what you've achieved.
Precisely. That's a critical point. The article puts it so well, something like, you're not broken. You're not ungrateful.
Right.
You're just finally feeling what you couldn't afford to feel before.
Right.
And that really is the heart of it.
Okay.
When you're stuck in that intense survival mode, that high-stress state, where all your focus is just on immediate needs, immediate threats.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your whole system is just about getting through right now.
Yeah.
There's just no mental space, no bandwidth to process the emotional impact of it all.
Right. Your brain's running on like emergency power, just focused on basic safety, getting food, shelter, whatever the core need is. That line from the article really stuck with me. No room for reflection or healing, because every bit of energy is going towards just staying afloat.
Totally. And you're not pausing to think, gosh, this is stressful, or I feel really sad about this. You're just surviving.
Pushing forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your brain basically puts emotional processing on the back burner.
Yeah.
It has to. Think of it like a temporary coping mechanism. You suppress feelings because you have to,
Yeah.
just to function in that high-stress environment.
It makes sense.
And then, as the article points out, when you finally reach a place where those immediate dangers lessen, where you feel some safety, some comfort,
Okay.
that's when your nervous system, your mind, they start to
Yeah.
catch up. They finally get that space to relax, as the article says.
So the constant alarm bells finally quiet down a bit.
Right. The sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response starts to calm down. And the parasympathetic system, the one for rest and digest, gets a chance to come online more.
And that's when the weird stuff happens.
Well, yeah, because that relaxation, that new mental space, it allows all those feelings you had to push down, they start bubbling up.
Like a lid coming off a pot.
Exactly. The article uses that image, like everything you held down starts pouring out.
Right.
And it's crucial to see this not as things getting worse, but as a natural result of finally being safe enough to feel.
So it's actually kind of a good sign, in a weird way.
In a way, yes. It means your system feels secure enough to start processing. The material you sent us, it really highlights this idea of the brain finally having that space.
Yeah, it does. And the article listed some specific things that might come up then.
It did. And it's so helpful to know these are common, understandable reactions. You might get flashbacks to the hard times.
Ugh, yeah.
Or maybe feelings of guilt, like, why did I make it out okay when others didn't?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It really is. Or even just this deep grief, maybe not for a specific event, but for the person you had to be back then.
The sacrifices you made. Grief for your past self. Wow.
Yeah. And then there's that persistent fear, that underlying anxiety that the rug's going to get pulled out from under you any second.
That the stability won't last.
Exactly. That fear feels incredibly real.
It must. Like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Mm-hmm.
And this brings us to another really key point from the article. Just because your bank account looks better or your life circumstances are more stable,
Right.
it doesn't automatically fix your emotional state. You can totally have external security without internal well-being.
Absolutely. One doesn't automatically create the other, and if those deeper emotional wounds aren't addressed, they can really start to mess with the peace you've worked so hard for.
Undermine it.
Yeah. that constant low-level fear, that waiting feeling, it can lead to some really destructive behaviors, can't it?
It seems like it. How does that usually show up?
Well, the article outlines a few ways, like maybe pushing away people who are supportive.
Isolating.
Yeah? Or engaging in numbing behaviors, overspending, maybe too much screen time, drinking, things that just temporarily dull the discomfort but don't fix anything.
Avoidance, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or even avoiding good opportunities like a new job or relationship because deep down you feel like you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
It's almost like peace feels so unfamiliar that your subconscious tries to drag you back to the chaos it knows, even if that chaos was awful.
That's wild. Because it's familiar.
Exactly. Familiar discomfort can feel safer than unfamiliar peace.
And the negative self-talk must fuel that, right?
Oh, massively. The article gave some classic examples. I don't really deserve this, or this is too good to be true, it won't last, or it's all going to fall apart eventually.
Yeah, I can see how that internal monologue would be running. Your brain's trying to make sense of this new reality compared to the old one, which was defined by struggle.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It struggled to fully trust the positive change.
And the really tragic part, as the article pointed out, is that this kind of thinking can actually lead you to create the problems you fear.
Totally. Unintentional self-sabotage is not weakness. It's just the fallout from carrying all that unprocessed emotional stuff.
So, okay, that paints a clear picture of the problem. What about solutions? What are the constructive ways forward? The article had some pointers, right?
Yes, definitely. Some really practical pathways to healing. The first one, and it sounds simple, but it's huge, is just acknowledge what you went through.
Don't minimize it.
Exactly. Stop brushing it off or pretending it wasn't that bad. As the article says, it did impact you. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Validate your own experience.
Okay, acknowledge it. Then what?
Then find healthy ways to actually process those feelings you had to store away.
Healthy outlets.
Right. Therapy is obviously a great option. Journaling can be really powerful too, just getting thoughts and feelings out, or maybe connecting with others in a support group.
So you're not carrying it all alone.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Create that space to process in a supported way.
Makes sense. What else?
Self-compassion. This came up strongly. Remember, you're essentially learning a whole new way to operate.
Moving from just surviving to actually living.
Exactly. And that's a massive shift. It takes time. It takes patience. You need to be kind to yourself during that process.
Cut yourself some slack.
Basically, yeah. There will be good days and bad days, steps forward and steps back. That's normal.
Okay. What about practical things? Habits.
That's another good point from the article. Maintain some of those helpful routines or structures that actually gave you stability during the tough times.
Ah, interesting. So don't throw everything out.
Right. Those habits, that discipline, they can still provide a sense of grounding and predictability even as you're dealing with these new emotional waves.
Keep the good structures. Got it. Anything else?
One final really powerful point was about protecting your inner peace.
How so?
Be mindful about not letting negative influences or old triggers back into your life just because they feel familiar.
Don't invite the chaos back in just because you're used to it.
Exactly. You worked hard to get away from it. Guard that newfound peace.
Okay, that all ties together really well.
Yeah, and looking at the bigger picture here, getting to stability after intense struggle, that's a huge win. The article definitely acknowledges that.
It's the easy part, maybe, relatively speaking.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But the article frames this next phase, the emotional work, as absolutely necessary if you want to keep and grow into those positive changes.
So the healing isn't optional if you want the stability to stick and feel good.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's essential if you want to fully embrace the blessing of a more secure life. And the article ends with such an encouraging message, something everyone needs to hear.
What's that?
You are worthy of peace. You are capable of healing. And you deserve to thrive, not just survive.
That's powerful. So wrapping up this deep dive, the main takeaway seems to be that the real emotional heavy lifting often starts after the crisis seems over.
Yeah. Those weird, unsettling feelings, the anxiety, the urge to sabotage, they aren't signs you're failing. They're actually part of the process of your mind and body finally dealing with what you endured.
It's a normal, if uncomfortable, part of processing adversity.
Exactly. Which brings us to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to reflect on.
Okay.
As you think about your own journey, how can you start consciously, intentionally, to create more space to feel in your life? Even now, maybe especially now, that things are more stable.
Actively making room for the emotional processing.
Right. Think about those steps we talked about, acknowledging the past, Finding those healthy outlets, being kind to yourself, keeping good routines, protecting your peace.
Yeah. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're actual things you can do.
Exactly. They're the building blocks for moving beyond just getting by.
And actually starting to thrive.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Thriving this next chapter.